How to increase cerebral blood flow. Firstly, what is the importance of cerebral blood flow? Now, the brain has a much higher demand for oxygen than any other part of the body. And it uses 20% of all available oxygen in the body due to the fact that it has a very high metabolic demand. Now, when blood goes to any part of the body, it carries nutrients. So, naturally, the cerebral blood flow is what your brain is dependent on for the acquisition of its nutrients, as well as now when you throw in the use of oxygen and the use of nutrition, that's all required for normal brain function. So cerebral blood flow is a really important part of human physiology. Now, what are some of the symptoms of poor cerebral blood flow? Now, you're not necessarily going to get all of these. They can be intermittent issues. You can experience some of these symptoms, and if you're lucky, they'll be really mild and you can get to the bottom of it and solve the problem. But don't let these scare you. Slurred speech is one of the symptoms, sudden weakness of limbs, difficulty swallowing, balance issues, vision issues, dizziness, numbness, vomiting and nausea, confusion, difficulty concentrating. Now, you're probably thinking that sounds like almost like a stroke or an ischemic attack. Yeah, it can, those can be some of the underlying factors, but that's not necessarily it. There are many things that can result in poor cerebral blood flow. And the point of my video is not to scare you with all of these symptoms and things, it's to give you solutions. And I will give you solutions at the end of this video. Now, what actually causes poor cerebral blood flow? Narrowing of blood vessels is at the top of this list. Blocked blood vessels as well. Ruptured blood vessels, that's going to be like hemorrhages, and then blood clots, which kind of goes right back into blocked blood vessels and narrowing of blood vessels. And this can lead to things like strokes, as I mentioned, as well as TIAs. Those are transient ischemic attacks, as well as aneurysms and other things as well. Now, you're probably wondering what could cause narrowing of the blood vessels going to the brain or blocked blood vessels going to the brain. So let's talk about that. These risk factors can play a role in that. Hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, obesity, high cholesterol, smoking and alcohol, and then the development of atherosclerosis itself. So, why are these such an issue? Well, hypertension, let me give you a few brief examples here. Hypertension is basically increased blood pressure. Now, when there's too much pressure inside the arteries, what happens is it's going to cause wear and tear on the artery walls. Now, when you get these micro tears on the artery walls, your body has to heal that. So, what is responsible for healing? Cholesterol. Most people think cholesterol is just this bad thing. No, it actually has a function in the body. It has many functions. One of the functions is to heal tissue. So, what happens is your blood pressure is high and it damages any of the artery walls. Your body will send out cholesterol to go and heal and patch up that area that has been torn. What happens is if you keep having high blood pressure and you keep having these tears, your body has to keep pushing out cholesterol, and this has to keep repairing certain parts of your arteries. And over time, if too much cholesterol builds up, there's a lot of oxidation. And if your blood sugar is out of control, it can cause calcification and the buildup of plaques. And that can lead to blockages. And well, it'll start with narrowing of the arteries itself, and then it can eventually turn into a block. And that's pretty much how a heart attack occurs. Similar situation in the case of a stroke. So, if you look at hypertension, diabetes, look at what it was before this. Hypertension is basically long-term high blood pressure. So think of high blood pressure, diabetes, think high blood sugar, obesity, and cholesterol. Those four make up a condition known as metabolic syndrome. A metabolic syndrome is basically a breeding ground for disease, not just heart disease, but all kinds of conditions. It puts you at risk for so many things. And when it comes to the brain, remember your brain is dependent on circulation. So just like you can block up an artery in your heart, you can do the same going to your brain. And you don't want to go through that. Who wants to go through that? So if you have any of these risk factors, get them under control. It takes work, it takes effort and dedication, but it's really important to get it under control so that you can live a long, healthy life. The leading cause of death worldwide is heart disease, which is linked to pretty much everything right here. So please get it under control. Now, let's talk about solutions. Now, as I said, my videos are about solutions, not all the bad information. I've pretty much lectured you for a few minutes here. So number one of this list, actually, it should be exercise, but let's go in order. Ginkgo biloba is the first thing. Each of these remedies improve circulation to the brain and cerebral blood flow, every one of them. So let me just tell you a little bit about each of these. Ginkgo biloba is a medicinal herb, which is an adaptogen, meaning it helps your body adapt to stress. It's really well known for its neurotropic effects, meaning it improves cognitive function and memory and things like that. And the way it does that is by improving circulation to your brain, which improves oxygen and nutrition to the brain. And then it has many other benefits beyond that as well. It's good for other conditions as well, for improving your strength and stamina, for treating conditions like vertigo, and many other things as well. Cocoa extract is next on this list. Great for circulation, really helps to improve the cerebral blood flow as well. And next is fish oil. Now, fish oil has numerous benefits. It's rich in omega 3s, it can also contain vitamin D, and it's a powerful anti-inflammatory, but it also improves circulation. In fact, fish oil and omega-3s are linked to improved um, brain function, and it has been used in clinical trials for treating several brain related disorders, everything from ADHD to depression and anxiety, and several others as well. I'll post a few links in the description for you to take a look at, related to fish oil. Next on this list is ashwagandha, which really should be above ginkgo biloba. Ashwagandha is a medicinal herb used in Ayurvedic medicine, very popular these days for its ability to improve strength and stamina, as well as help your body deal with stress. Just like ginkgo biloba, it is known as an adaptogen herb. And ashwagandha is great for your thyroid if you have hypothyroidism, not hypo. And it's also great for your blood sugar, for improving your strength, for helping you lose burn fat, improving cognitive function, and treating many disorders as well, such as depression, anxiety, OCD, and several other conditions. Also, really good for your heart and improving your cardiorespiratory health, strength and stamina, many other things. Tons of clinical trials done on ashwagandha. But it is an Ayurvedic medicinal herb. There are several different ways to use it, and just taking a supplement that you buy at a store and expecting it to work miracles for you because you followed the instructions in the bottle is not how it's done. In the United States, supplements are not regulated. However, there are strict rules still put on the claims that can be made and the dosages that can be recommended. A recommended dose on a bottle is not the equivalent of a clinically effective dose. So, whatever you're taking, if you're just taking it following the instructions on the bottle, I'm willing to bet you're taking the wrong dose. You're probably also taking it the wrong form. Ashwagandha in Ayurvedic medicine is never used as a standardized extract. There are other ways to use it. So speak to a practitioner, an Ayurvedic doctor, about that. Next on this list is now, as far as cerebral blood flow goes, ashwagandha, as I said, treats many brain related disorders. And including memory loss, cognitive function, improving cognitive function, and many other things. And it does so by improving circulation to the brain, as well as providing certain growth factors and certain naturally occurring steroidal substances and alkaloids that are really good for brain function. In fact, one of the key chemical constituents in ashwagandha uh, has been shown in experimental research to grow entire neuron networks, which is amazing for degenerative brain disorders. Now, next on this list is pranayama. This is a group of breathing exercises that is used in yoga. Now, if you go for regular yoga classes, you've probably not done too much of this because here in the West, yoga is not what it traditionally was. Or should I say, traditionally is. Yoga here is not done the way it is supposed to be done as per what yoga it was intended to be. Here it's more for fitness and getting in shape and getting flexible and things like that. But actually, yoga, the first thing that is supposed to be done when you practice and if the yogic practices is pranayama, meditation, pranayama. Then you do all the postures, um, and beyond that as well. Now, pranayama is a group of breathing exercises that involve controlling your breath in specific ways that can alter your physiology. And if you look at the clinical research on it, it's been used for treating so many things, everything from diabetes and several of the risk factors associated with heart disease, which is also associated with cerebral blood flow, like hypertension, as well as depression and anxiety, and many other conditions as well. I actually spoke about pranayama in my book, Healing Diabetes Naturally, and I spoke about the clinical studies as well. Now, pranayama is great for the brain. It improves oxygenation in the body itself, as well as circulation, as well as cognitive function. And so pranayama should also, exercise and pranayama should go hand in hand and should be at the top of this list. Next is exercise, and this is kind of a no-brainer. Exercise boosts circulation overall. So naturally, it's going to boost circulation to your brain as well. It doesn't matter whether you're doing weightlifting or you're doing jogging and cardiovascular exercise, or if you're doing yoga itself. Anything that gets your circulation going is going to help to get circulation to the brain as well. Exercise is really, really important. Now, if I had to decide what is the best type of exercise to do, I would say short term, high intensity exercises, like high intensity interval training. It can be like, let's say you go for a walk and say you're going for, say, an hour. If you're going for 60 minutes, 1 hour of walking, in that 60 minutes, you should do quick sprints at least, I'd say, 6 to 10 times when you're starting. 6 to 10 sprints over the course of that hour, and walk the rest of the time. That would be high intensity. It's not really high intensity interval training, but it's giving your body certain bursts of high intensity exercise. That's a good way to start. If you were lifting weights, then you can do heavy weights for a few repetitions, take a break, do another exercise group. Muscle group. So it's like doing, say, you did bench press, um, and then you can do squats, and you can do shoulder press, and you can do some pull-ups, and whatever gets the blood pumping to your muscles in multiple directions at the same time is going to really boost your blood flow. And so there's many ways to use exercise for improving your blood flow. And um, I don't recommend things like hot yoga. And the reason why is when you're doing exercise and you're exposed to that much heat, you lose a lot of electrolytes. A lot of people think hot yoga is good for you and they want to do that. There are downsides to it as well. My recommendation is to stick to the traditional things. So yeah, that's my take on a few remedies for improving cerebral blood flow and brain blood flow. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can do so through my website, drnishal.com. I do online video call consultations. So no matter where you are in the world, you can get in touch with me and I can help you. I'll see you in the next video.